Hello, my name's Dean Boddington. I'm a cardiologist and electrophysiologist at Tauranga in New Zealand. We have a group called Pacific Islands Pacemaker Services, PIPS for short, and we've been doing this now for almost 20 years. Our role is to provide pacemaker services to the Pacific Islands. Sadly, places like Fiji, Samoa, Tonga, Vanuatu do not have any services of their own. New Zealand, as you know, is also a Pacific island, so these are our neighbours. And as a team, we feel that we need to help them out, do trips to the islands, and we can then provide them with pacemaker services. We send a team usually of one cardiologist, usually an electrophysiologist, one cardiac nurse, somebody experienced with device implantation, and 3 cardiac physiologists. In New Zealand, the programming and checking of pacemakers is done by cardiac physiologists.
I'm Cheryl Tate, and my role is a cardiac physiologist, and in New Zealand a cardiac physiologist is responsible for looking after patients who have pacemakers and implanted defibrillators. And in our role in PIPS as a volunteer, that's my role in the Pacific Islands, is to do pacemaker checks for patients, and we do about over 400 checks with patients across the Pacific nations, including Fiji, Tonga, Samoa, and soon to be in Vanuatu. There is no follow-up service for patients in the islands because they don't have those skills. So that's why we go twice a year to most of the places and provide that care for the patients, and at the same time providing teaching for the staff that are over there as well. So that's a really important part for us that we really enjoy, is passing on those skills. We also are involved with the implanting doctors and help them in the surgery and putting the pacemakers in, and then explaining to the patients about what life is going to be like with a pacemaker.
As the cardiac nurse, my role is within the theatre. I am there to help continue support and education for the nurses in the cath lab who already do this procedure without us, and connect with them on a cultural level that is supporting them as opposed to coming in and taking over doing the roles for them, because we encourage them to be as self-sufficient as they can be to be able to do these procedures without us.
To date, we've been very lucky that Medtronic have in fact donated the pacemakers. So we haven't had to use previously owned pacemakers. Our model involves new pacemakers that have been donated. We are working with the local health services in Fiji predominantly, and our vision is to ultimately get to the point where they actually can develop their own service. When we go do each trip, we involve the local cardiologist, of which there are 2 in Fiji, to serve a population of almost 1 million people. The local cardiologists come into theatre with us, and we're training them up to do the procedures. Our cardiac nurse also helps train up their cardiac nurses. Sadly, they do not have cardiac physiologists or anybody that can check or program devices, and we have to do all of that and will have to for the foreseeable future. The vision ultimately, however, is that if we can get the local team to the point where they can implant the devices when patients present acutely with complete heart block, we can get to a point of saving a lot of lives.
We're also very involved in fundraising because these trips are by volunteers, and while we have some good sponsorship for accommodation and airfares, etc., we do need to help provide a lot of stock, and we're always on the lookout for donations of equipment. So that's part of what we do, as well as the logistics of getting together equipment, getting it over there, and allowing the locals to use all of those things. It's always a challenging environment for us because you're out of your comfort zone and you're in places where you have to think on your feet a bit and do things a bit differently, which is always really good to challenge your own practice. So it's a part that most of us really enjoy. One of our roles has been to develop the local staff and being able to do a lot of the checking of the pacemakers while we're not there. So we've been teaching them how to use the equipment, but we've also set up the ability to do virtual checks as well. We've made good use of WhatsApp and FaceTime and spent quite a few sessions getting the local staff to do the checkups and send us the information, and we talk them through what they need to do. And that's been a great use of technology for us. Patients in the islands can be implanted in all sorts of different places. Sometimes they're done in the States, sometimes Australia, sometimes India. And then they, in their home, they have a problem, they end up in the hospital, and the staff, the local hospital, can contact us and we can talk them through some options for what they can do. A gentleman I can remember, we had an implant of a pacemaker in India, and his reasons for needing the pacemaker had changed. And so his settings on the pacemaker needed to be changed quite significantly. And we were able to talk him through that. And that made a big difference to his daily life. He went from having a lot of dizzy spells to being sorted within a day.
I'm diabetic, and I used to regularly visit the National Diabetes Center and had a discussion with my doctor, and I complained about coughing, short breath and all that. So she recommended that I should meet you people and look at the possibility of having a pacemaker inserted. So I came, I went through the regular checkups and echo test and all the things that the cardiac doctors recommended. And finally, I think you people did the job on the 27th of March this year.
So it's been about 7 months or so.
Yeah, but it has made a difference to me in terms of my breathing and all that. So I'm quite happy and thankful for these services which is being provided by your organization. You see that? So I'm going 80 now. And I do my regular exercises. So I do all that. So in that sense, I'm very grateful indeed that the pacemaker is inserted. A lot of people will hide and say, hey, but I'm very proud of the fact that you have given a new life to my heart. Yes, it certainly has.
Anything else, or is that you feel like
Well,
you've said
I
what you
just do
want
want to express my gratitude to you people for your kindness, and I think it's very deeply appreciated. Fiji is a small island nation, and this kind of advanced technology support is deeply appreciated, at least by me, and I'm sure lots of others do the same. So, that concerns, because we don't have the kind of financial resources to be able to support the attention from overseas or do it privately. We just can't afford it. Had people done this, I'd never get it done. I'd probably be dead. You see that?
Yeah.
So this is not the lease of life. This is a magic contribution that you people have made to my life. And thank you very much.
Something that really feeds my soul is we're going to help the Pacific Islands for something that they don't have access to on a daily basis. That for us here, we think is just standard care, and being able to see the difference that we make to those people, and that for them they go on to live a life, whereas here it's just expected care. That for them, they're very grateful for what we are able to do for them so they can carry on living the best life they can.
So we have formed a charitable trust, Pacific Islands Pacemaker Services. We do rely on donations to fund some of our services, as there are costs involved with getting the team there, and of course costs along the way. We find this work incredibly rewarding. It is so good to actually do work where you can see an immediate difference that you are making. Patients who otherwise would be dying if they don't get a pacemaker. I would encourage anybody who has an interest, who thinks they can do something like this, get involved. If you would like to get involved, but you don't have a medical background, we are on Facebook. We do have a web page. There is a means with which you can do donations. We keep you updated by social media, so you can be a part of the team even if you can't get involved with the work on the ground.